Well, as we say, busy news day. Let's start off in North Korea. Now, well, not in North Korea, in Singapore, rather. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and US President Donald Trump have both arrived in Singapore for an unprecedented summit. They are due to meet tomorrow to discuss North Korea's nuclear arsenal and Washington's demand for a complete denuclearization. The meeting is an extraordinary turnaround from the tensions of last year when Kim accelerated his weapons programs and the two men traded personal insults and threats of war. Bringing the Korean War to a formal end 65 years after hostilities ceased will also be on the cards. Trump insisted last week that the summit would not be just a photo op, and he's now calling it a one-time shot at peace. For more on the meeting in Singapore, let's cross over live to Oliver Miocic. He's in Seoul. Oliver, a very good morning to you. Tomorrow's meeting is being described as a style over substance. Is that how it's being seen in South Korea? Because I believe that's where you are.
That is what it's being played out as among many analysts. They fear that this is only going to be an over-exaggerated photo opportunity and potentially the chance to lay down some framework towards setting a date for a future meeting. We've got to remember that diplomacy can be very slow in these parts of the world. During the 2003 initial talks that happened as part of those six-party talks between the various nations about North Korea, it took 25 months before we saw the real first substantial agreement that was struck. So while it might seem that nothing will be really achieved and there'll be no grand breakthrough, then we do have to remember that diplomacy can take quite a long time. Here in Seoul, there is optimism about what could come out of the meeting. There is a potential for finally a cessation of hostilities that was signed in 1953 at the end of the Korean War to be turned into a fully pledged peace deal and the ending of the Korean War. Technically, those two countries still remain at conflict. So there is great optimism for that here in Seoul. However, it is tempered with the fact that South Koreans have become very used to being left disappointed by failed promises from North Korea. They've been here before and they've seen it all before. So life goes on here as normal. People don't dwell on it too much, but there is concern that potentially they could be being led down the garden path.
I mean, if we look at some of the things that Washington are saying, and this is something that we mentioned in the introduction, is that there's great expectations, and certainly from the US perspective, that there will be denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. I mean, is this even a possibility after a meeting like this?
It will take quite a lot of groundwork in order to get any denuclearization deal on track, and that is because these are very technical documents. When the US is talking about denuclearization, and we've heard this morning from Mike Pompeo in a tweet saying that the US is committed to complete, verifiable and irreversible denuclearization. Now that is a term that is a very scientific term, and it's also a very technical term that you've got to lay out exactly how that will be done. Complete, how complete will it be? Will it be all of the weapons? Will it be the laboratories where the scientists work? What will you do with those scientists? Verifiable. Are you going to have people come in from the International Atomic Energy Agency to monitor how that happens? Will there be other bodies, or will it be the North Koreans who report it on their own? And then irreversible, it's making sure that these weapons cannot be produced again in the future, or indeed that the technology is not used to produce them in the future. Maybe that the technology is rooted to more medicinal purposes to do with radiation and isotopes. So it's a very technical thing to try and get this all sorted within a meeting, which was only arranged over the course of a month. We're going to have to wait and see, but we've got to remember that Donald Trump says that he believes this is a process and that this could be the first of one of just many meetings.
Yeah. All right, let's leave it there, Oliver. We'll catch up with you again during the course of the program. But this, of course, is the big news event that's taking place. We've got both North Korea and, of course, America, that being represented by Donald Trump, meeting tomorrow in Singapore. All of this in the hope of denuclearization. But let's see how that goes.